Another exciting week of Aviva Premiership action was served up in round 8. Games were largely hit by wet conditions, but despite the inclement weather, there were some brilliant performances on show. In a week which saw England notch their first victory since March, Twickenham Stoke played host to Sale Sharks. The game was dominated by the kickers, Danny Cipriani opening the scoring in the second minute. His counterpart Nick Evans was looking equally assured from the tee. 2 successful penalties for either side made it 6-all at the break. The Quins fly half was given 2 more spot kicks early on in the second half, with the Kiwi notching them both, and with that the hosts moved ahead on the hour mark. The game's only try was claimed by Sharks skipper Dan Braid, breaching the home side's defences after a couple of good chances. With that score converted by Cipriani, Sharks led by 4. Despite sustained pressure, Quins were unable to issue a response. A superb away win for Steve Diamond's side as they continue to rise up the league table. The other Friday night fixture proved a boisterous affair as Newcastle's Bring the Noise campaign encouraged Falcons fans to give vocal support for their side. But the crowd was silenced early on after Rory Clegg saw his first-minute kick charge down, only for John Afoa to snatch his first Premiership score. Clegg made amends from the kicking tee, 3 first-half penalties giving his side a slender advantage. Falcons came out swinging in the second half, and with Kingston Park rocking, it was Sanotti who slid over, capping a wonderful team effort. Gloucester were 10 points in arrears and shunned a succession of kicks at goal in order to push for a try. But Newcastle were able to seal off their attempts, a turnover in the last play of the match sealing victory. So that's 3 wins from 4 for the Falcons as they continue to steer a course away from the bottom of the league. Irish named Shane Geraghty as captain for their clash with Bath, and the centre got his side off the mark with a first-half penalty. Gavin Henson's boot kept Bath in touch with the hosts before a penalty try on the half-hour mark set the visitors in front. The match came alive just moments into the second half. Tight head Henry Thomas blazing his way through the Exiles' defence to go over for a superb try. In a game that ebbed and flowed, tries were going over at both ends. Chris Cook's acrobatic finish was the 3rd for the West Country side. David Pace had gone over for Irish earlier on in the second period, and James Short also found his way to the whitewash with 5 minutes to go. And with Geraghty's conversion, they were 10 points adrift. But the Exiles were unable to close the gap any further, granting Bath a vital win on the road. In the southwest, high-flying Chiefs took on a Wasps side that posted 11 tries in round 7. Jack Knoll got Exeter off to the ideal start, crossing over after 2 minutes, with Gareth Steenson adding the extras. Rob Miller would have been disappointed not to get a try of his own in round 7's scoring glut, but he made amends by rounding off a clinical Wasps move. But the Chiefs' first half domination was compounded as Knoll bagged his second, and then Thomas Waldron's scoring streak continued. The hosts were leading 25-8 at the break. In a spell of relentless pressure on the Chiefs' try line, Wasps forced 4 consecutive penalties from the scrum, but the visitors did not turn that pressure into points, and despite a solitary score from Tom Lindsay, it was Exeter who spent Saturday evening on top of the table. Saints were looking to snatch back first spot on Sunday in a rematch of last season's Aviva Premiership final with Saracens, and they made a blistering start to the game. James Wilson grabbing a brace of tries with only 13 minutes played. Sarries' defence, normally so reliable, was unable to live with Saints' intensity. Lee Dixon was proving a nuisance at set pieces, his work opening the door for Phil Dowson to bag try number 3 for the champions. The hosts grabbed a lifeline just before the break, with Jackson Ray finishing off a catch and drive, but the damage had been done early on by their opponents. Chris Wiles scored twice in 5 minutes for Sarries in the second half as they began the uphill task of clawing back the arrears. But with victory for Saints already sealed, Charlie Hodgson was at least able to salvage a losing bonus point with the game's last kick. The last match of round 8 took place at the Kassam Stadium, where it was London Welsh who opened the scoring. Nick Scott grabbed a superb crossfield kick and made no mistake with the finish. Welsh, though, were pegged back by a double salvo from Henry Thacker and went into the half trailing by 7. Tigers were far from their imperious best, but they were able to turn the screw up front, and Robert Barbieri snatched the bonus point try just after the hour mark. And so with the bonus point secured, Leicester didn't muster another score, with Welsh powerless to avoid their 8th loss of the season. So with 1 round remaining before a break for European rugby, Northampton lead the pack, but only hold a 2-point advantage over Bath and Exeter. Home defeat for Saracens mean they sit 4th, whilst a return to winning ways for Leicester shifts them to 5th. And Sale overtake Quins after victory at the Stoop. Meanwhile, it's looking bleak for Welsh, although there is still plenty of rugby yet to be played this season. So for all the latest news, subscribe to the official YouTube channel or log on to premiershiprugby.tv.